This is shot 100 from scene 3, where Jason has been killed and Keith, or Ashley, whatever you want to call him, has walked in and seen Leah feeding on the body. So this is the plate we filmed. So what we have to do here is add some blood on his chest, where a stake wound would be, some blood on his neck, where she's been drinking from him, and put some fangs on her that will retract. So I've already done this, which is down here. Started with the fangs on Leah because I couldn't think of how to start with the body. So originally I copied some of her teeth, but if you come back here, it's so small and so out of focus, there isn't really anything at all for me to work with. So instead, grabbed some stock footage of a nice vampire looking tooth, rotated it, did some shit, and then just started color correcting, masking it, and trying to fit it into the scene. Duplicating it, defocusing it, all of that to end up with, if it will load, bear with my computer. It is not the best. Come on. Lovely. Oh my god. There we go. So here you have some fangs, which over the course of these frames, as she gets up, will retract and disappear, which I will show you later on in the final export, because there's no way I'm going to be able to show you now. Next was adding a blood on Jason here. So let's drop down to that. If it will load, let me turn off the motion blur, it will save me a hell of a lot of time. Right, so we've got a little neck stain here on his skin. It's basically been done with some Luma-keying for texture, so shuffle out highest quality, highest contrast channel, Luma-key it, merge and rotor to just isolate to that portion, frame hold it so it doesn't move, grade it in, copied in a color correct for copying in the color over the alpha, which I've Luma-keyed, so it keeps texture, so it kind of looks like it's a part of him. And some further color correct, pre-molt, track, motion blur, the standard. Then here is just some detail, Luma-keyed the same bit, but without the color correcting, to bring some detail back on top of the other Luma-key. And then it's just rotating the shirt back on top, so it's underneath the shirt layer. And then this is the bloodstain on his chest, which, same preference, but originally I had just used this as a matte, which was a texture we got. It looked okay, but it also looked a little cheap. I'd Luma-keyed over the top of the shirt texture again, but it still didn't look so good. So instead, I Luma-keyed the entire area like I had done the neck. Well, I had done this first and then copied it for the neck. So Luma-keyed the shirt, color corrected, copied in the RGB from a constant into the alpha to change the color of the texture and color correct and blah blah blah. But I used this original shape we had, which I'd also done some minor roto and paintwork to make it look like what I wanted it to look like, as a matte. So I had this nice fall off shape, but it looked like it had been seeped through the fabric of the shirt from the Luma-key. And then just put on this wound, which was another stock element we got, which was really gruesome looking. Right, nice and nasty, right? Looks good. Of course, I took away most of this and just kept this black hole, since I saw this video once of a guy being stabbed, or a video about a guy who'd been stabbed, and he said it basically just ended up being a black indent in him, which is where I took this from. So it's just a black hole which kind of looks like a stake has been shoved through it, and then of course the blood seeping out, and this is where Leah had been feeding. And then a little ways down, I've put some here on the collar where it's kind of come out of the holes on his neck and seeped through the shirt as she's been feeding on him while Keith has been walking around the house. If it will load, that would be lovely. Come on, Mac. Oh, more fucking motion blur. Turn that off. There we go. See, nice and seep through. Looks like it's in there. And again, just a bit of texture on top. And there we have it. That is the basis of Jason's death. Wow. Feeding on after death, really. There were a couple of things I tried to do. I'd used an erode, which is down here, which was supposed to, over the course of about 30 frames, look like the blood is still seeping into his chest. But I had some render issues where it basically didn't do that, and it would just flash on and off. So for the sake of time, couldn't really fix it, just ditched it. So it's just the still blood now, which is what I originally had. Because it has been a while, I figured the blood is soaked in now. It's not going to be oozing out anymore. There's no reason. He's on his back. The heart stopped pumping. There's no reason why the blood would be coming out. But changes are made. So this was an original export. This is the problem I was telling you about. Here you can see it flash. Yeah, the Evo just not doing its thing. What is this pre-render I've got here? I think this is just the same again. Yeah, another one tried and it just keeps fucking up, so we ditched it. And this should eventually be the last one. Play it for me. There you go. The track was done by Carl because he loves his match move. And I hate my match move, so that was good. There we go. Motion blur kicked in at the end a little bit. Here we have Leah doing her death stare. I mean, some later comments I've got is, well, I know after I've done the grade, which I can show you in a separate post, teeth are brought out a little too much from her mouth. It looks okay here, but once the grade comes in, it separates it. So I need to blend them a little better, and also need to take away some of the redness and saturation from this blood so I can bring it back again with the grade inside of Premiere. Because otherwise it's a little too over the top. But as a whole, this is basically Jason's death, or Jason being dead. And that is my script. Bring it back through again. So original play, denoised it, ready to regrain at the very end. Fang, stock footage, rotated, transformed it where I wanted, rotated out the fang, did some matching, did some dilate. This was a bloodstain I was playing with. I'll see if it loads. Probably won't because my Mac is a piece of crap. It was just because, you know, she's been feeding on him. She has blood around her mouth. She would have blood on her teeth. But as you see, you don't end up seeing the teeth because it kind of just looks like it's her mouth. So group vote, we ditched it. Looks on camera, doesn't make sense logically, but hey, that's film life. And you know, pre-multi, defocus, edge blur, try and fit it in. Of course, this is the tooth for one side, duplicated it for the other, so it's basically the same process, and just moved it across, tracked it in, motion blurred it, blah blah blah, rotoed the lips back on top. Actually, it wasn't even a track, it was a partial track, partial keyframe, hand keyframe, because track didn't really work. And there we have our teeth. And switch because the teeth are there, and then the switch switches back to the footage once I want them off, so it doesn't have to bother rendering anymore. So this time, neck, shuffle, luma key, roto, alpha, frame hold, bit of grey to harden up the alpha a little bit, because it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. As of course, copy the colour from the constant back in. Here's Carl's track. Motion blur. Basic principle here for the shirt. Actually, basically the same principle for all of it. Shuffle, luma key, channel merge in a roto to either put the roto in or the alpha the roto out. Frame hold, match with primo, blah blah blah. And of course here again for the stain, the wound, same basic things. Bit of roto, some grading, some blurring, trying to comp it in. Whoops. And for colour stain, same process, just repeated throughout the body really. And, well, that was basically the final shot. Some minor tweaks needed, but that is effectively it.